in Buddhism, it's pretty clearly laid out in the Four Noble Truths. And the first of the Noble Truths says, stress is universal. It's just a given. If you emerge into this universe in a form, in a body, you're going to experience stress. Your body's going to keep changing. It's going to keep needing to be fed and wanting this and not getting that. And on all levels, there's going to be stress of not getting what we want or getting what we don't want. That's the first noble truth. The second noble truth is, if you respond to that stress by adding on grasping and chasing after things or pushing away and resisting things, then you suffer. The third of the noble truths is freedom is possible. And the fourth noble truth is it's possible when there's kind of a shift in how we pay attention. And there's kind of 8 areas of how we can bring and wake up attention in our lives. But the given, as I'm saying, is that we all experience stress, and it's through our engagement with stress that we actually wake up a sense of compassion and wisdom. It's not because stress isn't there. It's because it's there and we meet it with a quality of wise attention. And the best summation I know of that is that little saying, no mud, no lotus. Okay? No mud, no lotus. I remember I think it was my first retreat up at the Insight Meditation Society. One of my teachers, Joseph Goldstein, said this, sort of these words, close to these words. He said, every time I think I have a problem, I decide I don't have one. Okay? But that really stayed with me, and that's very much, again, the theme of what we're exploring. That the things we consider a problem, they can be challenging, painful, they can be everyday gnawing things, or they can be big life ones of divorce and custody and disease. But the frame of problem is what will cause the suffering. Now, broadly speaking, in terms of evolution, we evolved, we got stressed out by our puniness, we evolved into a much more mental creature. So the stage we're at in an evolutionary perspective is what's sometimes described as the mental egoic stage, where we identify as a mental being. We identify with our mind and the way our minds work. And we are self-reflexive awareness. We have self-reflexive awareness, which means not only are we mental egoic beings, we have a story or narrative about ourselves that is pretty much the map of our reality. So as I mentioned, it has a real benefit, this this development of our mental capacities to really have a lot of control on planet Earth. And then, of course, with every evolutionary stage, there's new stressors that arise. And our stressor is that we're most powerful, but we're also most destructive to ourselves and each other. So that's what we're working on now. That's our stressor right now that we need to attend to and evolve out of, relate to in a wise way. And we can see it globally. We can see how when humans feel threatened, because what happens in this mental egoic state is we become more aware of our mortality. We're more aware of our vulnerability. We're more aware of feeling separate and threatened by others. We have less of a natural sense of belonging. Okay? So with that sense of our mortality and our vulnerability, when we feel threatened, we get extra violent. We quickly make enemies of people of difference. So we'll make enemies of refugees, or enemies of immigrants, or enemies of those with a different sexual orientation or different race. We also get greedier because we feel vulnerable, because we feel threatened, because we look ahead and we're afraid there's not enough. We overconsume, we destroy the earth. So we can also see it individually, and this is where we'll spend most of our time, how our thinking and emotions and sense of a separate self creates a kind of stress, a sense of ongoing loneliness, isolation, fear, anxiety, depression. It creates stress, feelings that if we don't respond to in a wise way, we get locked into that sense of separation.